So now that we got our Express application complete, or the demo Express application, let's work on setting up our Docker container. Now for this video, I'm going to assume that you already have Docker installed on your local machine. If you don't, go ahead and do that now. Just follow the instructions on their website. It's fairly straightforward. Just make sure you follow the directions for your respective operating system. But once you have Docker installed on your machine, head on over to hub.docker.com. And I want you to just search for Node within that search bar right there. Once that's finished loading, you'll see that the first result is the official Node Docker image. So this is a public image provided by the Node team. And it's a fairly lightweight image that basically has Node already installed for us so that we don't have to do this ourselves. And if you take a look at the documentation, you'll see that we've got all of the various different versions that it supports. So you can get version 15, version 14, all the way back down to version 10 if you really want. And it's got directions for this image or any specific things that are relevant to this image when you want to deploy a container from it. Now this Docker image right here is not going to have everything that we ultimately need for our application because the whole idea behind Docker and an image is that the image is going to have every single thing that's needed for your application to work. And so for our application, we obviously need to get our source code into the image, and we also need to get all of our dependencies like Express, any other dependencies that our application may need. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own custom image, and we're going to base this custom image off of this Node image. So we're going to take this Node image, we're going to copy all of our source code into that Node image, and then we're going to install all of our dependencies like Express. And then that final image is going to have everything that we need to ultimately run our application. So let's get started on doing that now. Okay, so let's get started on creating our own custom image. To create a custom image, we need to create a Docker file. So the Docker file is just going to be a set of instructions that Docker is going to run to create our very own customized image. So let's create a new file, and we're going to call this Dockerfile with a capital D. Now in our Docker file, it's going to have a set of commands that Docker is going to run to create our own personalized image. And the first command that we always have to do is we have to specify a base image. So when you create a custom image, what you're ultimately doing is you take a base image or a known image of some sort. Doesn't matter where the image is from. It can come from your own Docker repository. It can come from Docker Hub. It can come from anywhere. You just need an image that Docker has access to. And we're just going to tweak it a little bit so that it contains all of our source code. It contains all of our dependencies and things like that. So in this case, we already found our base image. It's going to be this Node image because that's really the only thing that we need to run, right? We just need it to have Node and anything else to run Node. So we're going to take this as our base image. And the instructions here is going to show you how we can ultimately use that. So here you just specify Node, and then you can do colon and then the specific version you want. If you don't specify the version, I forget what version it grabs, but if you read the instructions, it's probably going to say it grabs like version 14 or something like that, or maybe the latest version. Right, so what we do is we do from, and we'll capitalize from, and then we say Node because that's the name of that image or our base image. And then we can do colon and then the version we want. So I'm going to specify version 15. Not that we need version 15. We can run 14 or really any version. We're not doing anything specific to any new versions. I just want to show you guys how to actually specify a version. So that's something that's absolutely needed. The next command is technically optional, but it's still recommended. And that's called the Workdir Command. And I'm going to set that to /app. So what this command does is it sets our working directory of our container to be the /app directory within the container. So I know this /app directory exists in the container because I've run the Node image and I know it's got a /app directory. But setting the work directory is really helpful because anytime you run a command, when you set the work directory, it's going to run that command from this directory. So we can put all of our application code in /app, and we can run node index.js on /app. And it's going to run it automatically in /app without us having to specify. So the working directory just is the directory where you run all your commands, and it's also the directory where if you copy any files to your container, it's going to by default send it to this directory. So this is just recommended, but it's not technically necessary. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to copy our package.json file, which is this file, which contains all of our dependencies and anything else that we need. And we're going to copy it into our Docker image. So let's go to, so we can run the copy command. And so we copy the path to the package.json file, which is our current directory. So we just do package.json. And then we have to specify the directory we want to copy it to in our image. And so I'm going to do this dot, which means the current directory. And the reason why I do that is because we set our working directory up here to be /app. So when you do dot, it's going to assume the /app directory. We could technically also just do /app, same result, but since we have the working directory set, we can just specify it relative to that directory. The next thing is, once we have our package.json, remember it's got a list of all of our dependencies. We want to actually install our dependencies. So we want to run an npm install. So in our Docker file, to run a command, we can do run, and we can do npm install. All right, so we now have our package.json file copied over, and then we run npm install. Now we've got Express installed for us. The next thing we want to do is, and this part's going to be a little bit confusing, but we're going to copy the rest of our files. So all of our source code, everything else, into our Docker image. So we'll do a copy again. And here, instead of specifying a specific file, I'm going to say the current directory. So this is going to grab every single file, every single folder within our current directory, and we're going to copy it to, just like we did here where we just did a dot, which is going to send it to the /app. We're going to do the same thing. So we can just do dot or dot /, same thing. And right here, you might be a little confused. You might be wondering, well, why do we copy the package.json first and then copy all of the files over? Do we even need this step before? If we're going to copy all of our files, this should copy our package.json, and it does. The reason why I split it up into two different steps is a little bit of an optimization technique. So let me explain how Docker images actually work. When you create an image from a Docker file, it takes each one of these steps and it treats it as a layer of the image. So you could think of an image as just basically these 5 steps or 5 layers. So once you build all 5 layers, you have the ultimate image or the final image. So this first command creates one layer of the image. This second command creates another layer of the image. This third command creates the third layer, the fourth layer, and the fifth layer. And they all kind of build on top of each other. And what's important is that after each layer, the Docker actually caches the result of each layer. And what I mean by that is when we run Docker build, when we actually build our image for the first time, what's going to happen is that it's going to run this first step and it's going to cache the result. So it's going to say, hey, look, we downloaded the node image from Docker Hub, and then we cache that result, right? We then set the working directory to /app, and we cache the result of that. We then copy package.json, we cache the result. We then npm install, cache that result, and then we copy all of our code and we cache that result. And this is important because let's say we decide to rebuild the image again, right? If nothing changes, Docker is efficient. It knows that nothing's changed in any of these layers, and it just takes the final cache result of step 5, which is the last layer, and it just gives that to you. So if you run Docker build, which is the command to actually create the image, the first time you run it, it's going to take a long time because it's got to run all of these steps. And especially the npm install, if you have a lot of dependencies, it's going to take quite a while. But the second time you run it, if nothing's changed, you'll see it'll be done in less than a second. And that's because it's cached all of the results. And the reason this is important, and the reason why I split this up into 2 different steps is, I want you to think about what happens during our development process, right? When we are actively working on our code, what changes? Our package.json does not change very often, right? I mean, we do occasionally add new dependencies. That's normal, but it's, for the most part, your source code changes, but your package.json and your dependencies don't change very frequently. And so by splitting this up into 2 different steps, what happens is we cache each of these layers, right? And so we're going to cache the node image, we're going to cache the working directory, and in reality, those 2 will never change, right? We're never really going to change those 2. So we're always going to essentially cache the result from step 2 and onwards. But the thing about Docker is, if any layer changes, right, say that layer 3 changes, and what I mean by layer 3 changes is that if package.json ultimately changes, where maybe we add a new dependency, we have to rerun step 3 and all of the steps after that, because we don't know how that's going to impact step 4. We don't know how it's going to impact step 5. And so by caching, by splitting these up into 2 different steps, we can say that, listen, if package.json never changes, then we're going to cache that result. And since realistically, when we're actually programming, package.json is just not going to change. So we're going to cache that result. And since package.json is cached, then we're going to also cache the result of npm install because nothing's really changing. So we cache those results. And so when we change any of our source code within our application, The only step that really changes is layer 5, where we copy the rest of our code. And so we only need to rerun step 5. However, if we didn't have this split up into 2 different steps where we have a copy package.json and then copying the rest of our files, what would happen is that anytime we changed our source code, technically it would rerun everything, including the npm install, because it doesn't know that we only changed our source code. It just sees that, listen, this step where we copy all of our files has changed. We're going to have to rerun all of the steps after that. So by doing this, we know that package.json will always be the same. So we can cache the result of these 2 steps and only run step 5, which is the changing of our source code. So it's a little bit of optimization. If it didn't make sense, I don't think I did that great of a job of explaining it, but I'll show you guys this when we actually build our containers, how it actually caches the results of each step and how it's a little bit of an optimization to actually do this and split this up into 2 different steps. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we know our application is going to be listening on port 3000. So let's do expose. So we're going to say our container is going to expose port 3000. And then finally, when we start our container, we want to tell it what command to run. Right? And since this is a Node application and our entry point into our Node application is this index.js, we have to tell it to run index.js. So we do cmd brackets, and then we're going to do node and then index.js. All right, so when we deploy our container, it's going to run in index.js. So this is at runtime, and this is at build time. So hopefully you guys understand this. So this is when we're building the image. This is the command that's going to be assigned to the container when we actually run the container. And so that's all we really need. We're going to go ahead and actually create our image now. So let's go to our terminal down here, and I'm going to stop our Express server because remember, we're no longer going to be developing on our local machine. We're going to be developing on the Docker container. So make sure you stop your local instance of your application. All right, and let's build our Docker container. Oh, sorry, our Docker image. We're building the image right now, not the container itself. So we'll do a Docker build. And then we're going to specify the path to our Docker file. It's actually called the context. It's not necessarily the path to the file. It has a little bit more of a meaning to it, but I don't want to spend too much time going on it. Just think about it as the path to the Docker file. So this Docker file is in the current directory, so we're just going to do a dot. So let's run that. And I realized I forgot to save my file, so let's save that. And I'm going to rerun that. And I want you to pay attention to the output. Notice what's happened. And I think this is kind of important when you're trying to understand what's happening. You can see that on step 1 of 5, it says we're going to grab the node image from docker.io. So it's pulling the image from the from Docker Hub, right? And as I said, each one of these is a separate step or a separate layer, right? And if we go down, we go to step 2, and it says working directory is set to /app. You can see that it says cached. So you're not going to see it say cached on your machine. That's because I ran this as practice before I recorded this video. But it's not going to say that it's cached when you ultimately run this. So keep that in mind. But if you run this again, right, what should happen is that it should cache all of the results, right? And so now all the way down to step 5, it's cached. So if you run it again, like I said, there's an optimization where it actually caches the results. And the second time you run it, it's going to be much, much faster. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a Docker image ls, and you can see the new image it created. This is the one without a name because we didn't specify a name. You also see the node image that it pulled from Docker Hub, which is node 15. Now, I don't like the fact that we didn't give this a name. So let's do a Docker image rm. This is going to delete the image that we just created. And I'm going to pass in that image ID. And if we do a Docker image ls, you can see that it's gone now. So now we're going to go back to the Docker build command that we ran, but this time we're going to pass in a specific flag. So we'll pass in the -t flag. So here we can give it a name. I'm going to call this node-app-image. All right. So once that's complete, we'll do a Docker image ls. And now you can see we've got our image that we just created. So now that we have our image, let's go ahead and run it and let's test it out, see if everything works. So we'll do a Docker run, and we'll do node-app image. So here we're just specifying the image that we want to create a container from, which is this image that we just created. But before you hit enter, there's a couple of flags that we got to pass. So first of all, I want to give my Docker container a name so that I have some kind of way to identify it. So we can pass in the dash name option, and we'll call this node app. So keep in mind that last entry in my command is the name of the image that we're creating a container from. This is the name of the container that we're creating. And then finally, there's one more flag I want to pass, which is -d. So that means it's going to run in detached mode, because by default, when you create a Docker container from Docker run, you're going to be attached to the CLI or the console or whatever it's called. But here I can run it in detached mode so that my command line's still free and open. So let's hit enter. And it looks like it's successfully created my container. I can do a Docker PS, and we should see that there's a container open at the moment. All right, so let's test this out. And what I'm going to do is let's just go to my localhost :3000, hit refresh, and let's see what happens. All right, so it doesn't look good. It's spinning, which most likely means there's something broken, and it looks like there is. Don't worry, guys. I know exactly what's wrong. I purposely did this. So let's tackle exactly what's wrong with our Docker container in the next section.